After Vince McMahon's return to WWE, several WWE superstars were worried about the future, with Vince McMahon possibly returning to creative. Therefore, Triple H held a all-hands-on-deck talent meeting prior to SmackDown last night, which also included Kevin Dunn. We got the very latest details from that. Speaking of Vince McMahon, upon his return, he's already telling departments that they weren't doing things correctly during his absence. Bray Wyatt cuts an emotional promo on SmackDown last night. Sami Zayn faced off against Kevin Owens. Charlotte Flair has a backstage brawl with Sonya Deville. Gunther defends his Intercontinental Championship against Braun Strowman, and Rey Mysterio declares his entry for the Royal Rumble. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment, and we have to start off talking about this big talent meeting last night prior to SmackDown. Of course, a lot currently in flux in WWE, a lot of speculation about the future of the company, whether it's exploring strategic alternatives, a sale to Saudi Arabia, a sale to Disney, a sale to the Khan family, a sale to a lot of people, but we do have details now on a talent meeting prior to SmackDown to try and calm some nerves of the talent, particularly when it comes to the creative side of things in World Wrestling Entertainment. So, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select is reporting that Triple H held a talent meeting at SmackDown on January 13th that helped calm the nerves of some talent. Since Vince McMahon forced himself back into the company, there have been numerous talent concerned about their creative futures. Triple H said that he's been assured that Vince McMahon's return is to see if the company should sell and help lead the charge and figure out who they might sell the company to if they do indeed decide to sell it. He made an attempt to squash the story of a sale being a, quote, done deal, and said if it even happened, it would take a lot longer, which is something that's been widely reported as well. That comes off the back of those previous reports saying that WWE had already been sold to the Saudi Public Investment Fund. People then backed off that, said that would have happened way too quickly. Again, sales can happen quickly, but a sale of this magnitude, a multi-billion-dollar sale, is going to take a bit of time, something which Triple H was telling the talent last night prior to SmackDown. Now, what calmed many talents' concerns was Triple H stating that none of what is going on with Vince McMahon will change the creative process that he, Triple H, has in place, or the team that helped puts it together. Triple H did keep it open and said that anything could change, a little bit of a caveat that would worry me. But right now, Vince McMahon defers final creative say to Triple H. Triple H also said that while he and Vince McMahon may have discussions, he makes the final call. Triple H will make the final call when it comes to creative. WWE was adamant in an official sense to Fightful this week that Triple H was still running creative. Triple H also thanked the talent for all they do and said he understood that there was some concern. Now, after that story came out, there was a bit of an update to it, and they also discovered, particularly Sean Ross Sapp, who is reporting this story, that Kevin Dunn spoke to the talent at the meeting. He said that he'd worked with Vince McMahon for 40 years, and since coming back, Vince hasn't said a peep to him about making changes. We had heard that Vince had made suggestions regarding other departments, but that it wasn't implemented as of right now. I'll touch on that in just a second. So what Vince is already suggesting isn't actually being implemented, isn't happening. And Kevin Dunn, who's saying, look, I worked with Vince McMahon for 40 years and I spoke to him every day. I still haven't heard anything from him. Again, whether that's the truth or not remains to be seen, because this talent meeting, in my opinion, was just to kind of reassure people. If he would go into that talent meeting, a meeting to reassure people, saying, I've spoken to Vince, I'm speaking with every day, that would lead to some to being a bit more concerned, wouldn't it? Now, Dunn largely reiterated Triple H's points. It was said by many that this was a calm down meeting. Now, again, whether or not any of this remains to be accurate or true, we'll have to wait and see in terms of what Triple H is saying, not the reporting by Sean Ross Sapp. I believe that to be accurate. But at the same time, Vince McMahon said he wasn't going to mess with the management team in place, and Stephanie McMahon's already gone. So certainly anything is possible when it comes to upcoming changes. Speaking of changes, we did just kind of touch on this a second ago, but I do want to talk about it a bit more in depth here. There are reportedly rumors that Vince McMahon has already told some WWE departments they're, quote, doing things wrong since his return. McMahon reinstated himself onto the board of directors on January 6th, and on January 10th was named WWE's executive chairman following the resignation of his daughter Stephanie McMahon. McMahon has stated that his intention upon returning to WWE is solely to facilitate a sale of the company and lead media rights negotiations, and that previous management would be staying as it was. However, that of course was before Stephanie resigned from the company in general. A new report on the situation, Sean Rossap of Fightful Select has reported, quote, "The roster morale and reception to Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan as compared to Vince McMahon has been night and day. Even Triple H's guidance has led talent and staff telling us that work is more fun for them. And while we've heard rumours that Vince McMahon has already sent word to some departments to say that they're doing things wrong since his return." Now, it wasn't mentioned which departments were being referred to, but that could become an interesting topic given McMahon has stated his intentions to only be involved in a sale and media negotiations. If you're only going to be involved in a strategic alternative, a sale of the company, and negotiating those media rights, why would you be getting involved with other departments? Certainly very curious. It's important to reiterate the wording of Fightful's report, which said they just, quote, heard rumours, but not more at this point. Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter on January 13th that Nick Khan's WWE's new sole CEO had been the one, quote, running the company and, quote, making final decisions. The Observer also noted that McMahon had not been back at his office, nor at any shows since his return to the board. As I mentioned, on January 6th, using his power as majority owner, Vince McMahon put himself and former WWE presidents George Barrios and Michelle Wilson back on the company's board of directors, disposing of Joe Ellen Lyons Dillon, Jeffrey R. Speed, and Alan M. Wexler in the process. McMahon had stated that his intention was to facilitate a sale of the company. He changed bylaws to ensure that no sale or media rights deal could be completed without his approval. Upon McMahon's return, 2 further board members resigned of their own volition, those being Manjit Singh, the one heading up the board's investigation into McMahon, and Ignacy Lahoud. Stephanie McMahon, his daughter, then resigned from her role as co-CEO and chairwoman and her position on the board on January 10th, as McMahon was elected executive chairman of the board once again. There's been much speculation that Vince McMahon was looking to sell, partly that would commit him to being in charge once again of creative, despite the multiple sexual misconduct allegations that have surfaced in the past year that have led to his initial retirement last July. Let's talk about SmackDown last night, because there is an actual television show going on it from week to week, certainly, with WWE, even though it doesn't feel like it at the moment. Day to day, there's just behind-the-scenes stories are the biggest stories in WWE right now. But Bray Wyatt was on SmackDown last night, cut an emotional promo, and revealed he is Uncle Howdy. During Bray Wyatt's in-ring segment on last night's SmackDown, he resurrected his in-ring rocking chair, but also a previous moniker. In a passionate promo, Bray Wyatt warned LA Knight ahead of their Mountain Dew pitch black match that not only was he, quote, the eater of worlds, he was also Uncle Howdy, and he was everything. He is Bray Wyatt. Echoing the same message of learning to revel in what you are that Alexa Bliss referenced on Monday Night Raw, the multi-layered promo was certainly intriguing. Also on SmackDown, the QR codes are back. A QR code appeared that linked fans to a WWE website featuring a Firefly Funhouse version of Bray Wyatt telling fans, "Let me in," and then flashing a version of The Fiend once again. We got not only Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt, we got the Fiend version of Bray Wyatt too. Seemingly beginning to merge the alter egos from past storylines, it's fascinating to see references to Wyatt's rich WWE history coming together in this current fashion. I think, again, this is really the first time he's acknowledged he's all of these people. He also said during the promo, "I am him," and every time he says him, he never says the word fiend. When he's saying him, he means the Fiend. So he said, "I'm Uncle Howdy. I'm the Ear of Worlds. I'm the Fiend." I think in the pitch black match at the Royal Rumble, we're going to see this Wyatt 6. Whether it's 6 versions of Bray Wyatt, whether it's people playing his other alter egos, I don't know. But I also think the Fiend is going to return. Whether or not that happens, that's just speculation on my part as of right now. Sami Zayn faced off against his best friend Kevin Owens last night on SmackDown. On last night's edition of SmackDown, Sami Zayn had clear orders from Roman Reigns to defeat Kevin Owens. In an earlier backstage segment with Paul Heyman, Zayn discovered he was rolling solo at SmackDown, with Heyman telling Sami that the tribal chief wanted him to be able to prove his worth on his own. While Sami Zayn entered the match up confident, after a hard-fought battle, he appeared conflicted as the Bloodline eventually did appear to interfere in the match, with the Usos first attacking Owens and then a vicious end, including a Samoan spike and big splash onto the commentary desk from Solo Sikoa. The show ended with Owens laid out in the ring, and Sami Zayn appeared subtly trepidatious as he joined the Bloodline in their signature pose, standing tall over KO, laid out beneath him to end the show. Clearly, sowing the seeds for eventually Sami Zayn to either turn on the bloodline, get kicked out of the bloodline, show compassion to Kevin Owens, or something of that nature, leading to the match that is going to be taking place at Elimination Chamber in February, which is going to be Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn for the undisputed Universal Championship. Of course, Elimination Chamber taking place in Sami Zayn's hometown of Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and the seeds are already beginning to be planted. Charlotte Flair is the SmackDown Women's Champion, and she was involved in a brawl backstage on SmackDown last night. There was an epic brawl backstage at SmackDown last night between two stars of the women's division, after Adam Pearce flat out told Sonya Deville that he wasn't just going to be gifting her another shot at Charlotte Flair's SmackDown Women's Championships. Deville set out to earn one. Earn one as in begin a backstage epic brawl with the champion, not face a bunch of opponents. In the end, it took copious amounts of authority figures, security guards, and others in an attempt to separate the pair, who continued to find inventive ways to attack one another throughout the brawl. So it would appear that maybe, just maybe, we're going to get Charlotte Flair versus Sonya Deville at the Rumble, or Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. We still don't know what's going to happen with that, but maybe they're teasing that it is going to be Flair versus Deville for the Rumble. The Intercontinental Championship was on the line last night on SmackDown as well, and Gunther retained his title, and some expected him to lose it, but Gunther is still the Intercontinental Champion, putting his Intercontinental Championship on the line. Gunther had Imperium in his corner as he took on Braun Strowman with the title on the line. In the hotly anticipated matchup, Gunther and Strowman left nothing on the table as they engaged in a brutal battle, with commentary and both combatants putting over Braun's injured shoulder throughout the match. He still waged impressive offense, with the crowd squared behind Strowman. Gunther continued to target the injured shoulder as well as delivering powerful chops. In the end, though, the Intercontinental Champion retained his title via pinfall, and he still is the Intercontinental Champion. As I said before, my feeling is that Gunther will break the record and become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Of course, that record is currently held by WWE Hall of Famer the Honky Tonk Man, over 400 and something days, I think it is. It's over a year, and Gunther's still got plenty of time to go until then, but with rumours of a possible WrestleMania showdown against Brock Lesnar on the horizon, that doesn't need to be for the title. So I think Gunther could be the guy. I think Gunther could go all the way. One thing's for sure, as of right now, he is still the Intercontinental Champion. Finally, Rey Mysterio is also going to be in the Royal Rumble match, one of the most famous winners of the Royal Rumble match in 2006. He's going to try and do it again. A legend appeared on SmackDown but was met by an unfriendly visitor from the roster, hell-bent on insulting him before attacking him. After being missing from SmackDown for several weeks, Rey Mysterio is back on the blue brand with an announcement. Taking to the microphone, Mysterio discussed the fact that, as you know, he did not have a, quote, very Merry Christmas at the hands of his son Dominic. Rey Mysterio then declared that he knows how he can get back on track and get a fresh start on SmackDown. He announced that he would be an entrant in the 2023 Royal Rumble match from San Antonio, Texas on Saturday, January 28. However, he was shortly thereafter interrupted by Karrion Kross and Scarlett, with Kross taking the ring to point out it had been 17 years since Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble, but wondering if Rey even knew if Dominic cared about the moments since he wasn't there for his son. With Mysterio having heard enough, he attacked Kross and was close to delivering a 619 until Scarlett tripped him, leaving Kross the opportunity to lock in the Kross jacket on Mysterio. The segment ended with Kross standing tall over Mysterio, with the arena illuminated in spooky red lighting. One would think we're going to get Kross in the Rumble as well, and it possibly again will lead to a singles match between Kross and Mysterio, possibly at Elimination Chamber. That will then also lead to Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania, father versus son, first time ever, possibly Rey Mysterio's career on the line or something like that as well. I think will probably be the case. That's what we're building towards. We're building towards the Mysterio family facing off at WrestleMania. And I don't know if Rey Mysterio has any plans on retiring. He doesn't look like it at the moment. So even if they do add on that Rey Mysterio stipulation, my feeling would be that he wouldn't retire. That would kind of give it away. So I'm not sure I necessarily want that, but it's WrestleMania, so sometimes they want to raise the stakes even higher. But there you go, guys. That's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.